Welcome back to BobSMP. You, my friend, are in for an incredible Minecraft episode as we are going to take over the server and assert our rule as the evil Nether King. We mine the end pillars for obsidian in the intro so we can pop up these oblivion gates everywhere. This is a small portal example, but I can envision a bunch of various designs of these all over the server and map to show that our power is growing and that the Nether is creeping into the overworld once and for all. Now we're back in front of our Nether towers, the ultimate sign of our power and evil. Finalizing this mega project is one of my main goals for this video, as we really can't call ourselves a king unless our castle is in tip-top shape. If you're new to the series, we are role-playing the servant of Billy, who may look like a normal goat, but he's actually a demonic Nether god, and we are serving him. I've gathered up some other goats because I'm envisioning a grand goat Nether throne room for us inside of this main tower, and having a royal council seems like something that we need in order to flex our power. Fixing up the landscape is also something that we need to do this week, as it looks incredibly barren and unloved in comparison to the university campus that we detailed in the last episode with flowers and all of these custom trees. And as the Nether King, I have my own agenda when it comes to ruling the server and waging war against the axolotl religion that the other players have. The secret of immortality is something that we want to uncover, and totems of undying are the way to that. So amassing a bunch of totems with a raid farm will be a good start in our quest. And I'm also interested in the respawn anchor when it comes to immortality. That is a block that is not only good for building, but it keeps one's life preserved if one dies in the Nether. That sounds right up our alley, and it's good for our evil plans, but it requires piglin bartering to amass a bunch of these. So as we fly around, I'm going to share that I've made Logical Geek Boy's 1.17 simple raid farm, so if we head over to our pillager outpost and pick up Bad Omen, we can show it off in action. I'll leave the tutorial in the description, and like always, Logical's guides are great. I've pretty much made everything on the server using his guides. But when it comes to this one, I think I messed up somehow, as it is not working as intended, as raid mobs kept not spawning or exploding out of the platform, as you can see in this screenshot. So it required me doing a lot of tweaks over hours to the various blocks. Like I changed some slabs off for blocks to mess with spawning. I've changed glass heights, but then things wouldn't spawn at all. And it took a long time. It was really messed up, and it still isn't ideal. It's not working as intended just yet, but it is working a lot more consistently for me now. Working consistent enough to get a time lapse of us slaughtering the illagers who don't swear loyalty to their lord, and getting enough totems to pretty much break the economy. That's right, after the raid farm, we are now selling totems of undying for only 1 diamond. I bet there'll be a lot more PvP on the server because of this. Up next on our agenda was getting respawn anchors for our builds and our quest for immortality and godhood. Manually bartering with piglins was absolutely painful and not what I wanted to do with my time, but I was also way too tired and too lazy to make a fully automated and sorted farm after the problems with the raid farm. So I settled for making multiple micro-automatic bartering farms, but they're manually sorted instead of being automatically sorted. So I set up 8 piglin chambers, and the only obstacle of really getting this working was actually getting piglins inside of them. So I had to make a spawn platform on the nether roof and spent a good 2 hours wrangling up some of these little piggies. I ultimately used minecarts and rails to move the 7 piglin mobs inside, but for the first one, I kind of led him with cookie crumbs of gold ingots, which is kind of funny that you can lead them in this way. And eventually, we got the farm working, and we can get a lot of crying obsidian for our anchors. The Pit of Sacrifices has got to be one of the most unique and intriguing areas on BobSMP and this YouTube series. We did the impossible and broke a 3x3 bedrock hole in survival with exploits, and are now using this ritualistic hell pit as a place to sacrifice mobs. Our goal is to do every mob in the game that is physically possible, and in a way, that's cooler than the Monsters Hunted advancement, as we're doing everything, not just the hostile ones. This challenge is super exciting, and means I'm learning all of the best ways to move different mobs around in Minecraft. To commemorate our kingship this episode, and give Billy the Goat a great offering, we're doing 4 mobs today. First up, from our Nether territory itself, is the Strider, so I went to a lava lake. This was actually my first time messing with striders in survival, but thankfully they're drivable with a fungus on a stick. The poor guy was trembling with fear at the idea of the void. As you know, it's probably cold down there, but alas, he fell in. Up next was the Fabled Mooshroom. That's right, before we even sacrifice a normal cow, we're doing the fungi-covered ones, which meant traveling to Axolotl Island. Mushrooms are still just cows, so all it took was some wheat to lure him back a few hundred blocks on the nether roof ceiling to New Pog City in the pit. Maybe his friend, the Moo Bloom that didn't get voted into the game, is down in the void somewhere. A creeper was chilling on my hellscape, which you know that means I need to light it up. But this presented an opportunity to me to sacrifice the most iconic mob in the game, and maybe potentially blow up the ritual altar in the process. It was a bit nerve-wracking leading him up the stairs, but my original idea was to get him in a minecart and send the creeper in that way. However, the creeper didn't cooperate, and punching it into the pit was just the most effective strategy there was, even if it meant it came close to exploding on us. Sacrifice the subscribe button for when we do this with a charge creeper, or else I'll sacrifice you into the pit as well. Our last offering of the video is a cat. We previously tried to throw a cat into the void, but because it was a tamed pet, it teleported back up, and is now our tamed pet, Artorias of the Abyss. Yet Billy still demands a cat sacrifice, so we had to find a wild one and prevent it from running away by trapping it in a boat. You can minecart entities that are in boats for double mob moving potential, but it's kind of a hassle, and I find that trapping it in a minecart is my preferred method. It meant a lot of rails, but it wasn't too bad, and the cat came right up to the altar right as the bloody sunset descended over the city. I love cats IRL, so this is one of the more cruel sacrifices that we've had to make in-game, but at least Artorias is alive and safe with us. Then the time came to add more spikes onto the towers. I wanted to do this in the original video when I made the towers, but the complex shapes and insane verticality of this build make it challenging to conceptualize these spikes. The existing spikes, however, did make it easy enough to scaffold around up here on top of the towers and get building even more of them. There was no time lapse again for these things, but that is alright. We're not popping up a brand new structure like the university, we're shaping and detailing an existing building that we have. And it's really coming together. I'm really excited about the shapes of these spikes. It feels as if the tower was naked before I added them, and now that they're here, it is finally becoming the structure that I envisioned based off the towers from Elder Scrolls Oblivion. The step-by-step process of this project is giving me an even bigger appreciation for the mega builds from like Hermitcraft, like Grian's Season 6 tower, and how the design of a base that big evolved over time, as my own base is doing so now. The verticality and terraforming of this entire project makes the thing feel mega for me, but the interior is the absolute worst. Exteriors are pretty straightforward in Minecraft, even for those complex spike-like shapes. But working on an interior takes me forever to just like figure everything out, and this throne room is like that. Inside the tower, we're going to have the most expensive room on the server probably, the Nether King's throne room and his court. And it will use obsidian, crying obsidian, and respawn anchors as support pillars, all pretty tedious blocks to get. And after only placing a few down, knew I was going to need AFK for more gold and bartering to get more respawn anchors. We recently made the Court of the Nether King banner, which is red goat horns on a black background. Using that shape, I ingrained the logo on the outside of the tower, but wasn't ready to show it off just yet because it was unlit and kind of dark. Copying the logo shape on the inside of the building would let the logo hang over the throne room like a giant banner, which I knew would look really cool, especially over the court that we were going to have. And I put one block in between them on purpose because it would allow light to go through the logos. I made these logos using red nether brick walls, and because wall blocks aren't full blocks, they allow light to go through them. So I planned on pouring lava between the two, and then the interior and exterior of the tower would have this giant glowing goat horn hanging over us. Here it is on the interior next to our ridiculously expensive respawn anchor accent block that I ran out of. But the timing was perfect after I finished it, as it became night and I was able to activate my shaders to see my vision come to life. The glowing goat logo looks incredibly cool. Again, the tower just feels like it was naked before I added this. Using this technique of red nether brick walls and lava behind them, I want to make the spikes in other towers glow in the future as well as we continue to work away at this project. This is the inventory of a man who's crafted more respawn anchors on the server than copper blocks according to the statistics page. Piglin bartering gives you so many resources. Like, I'm actually in love with how much blackstone we were getting without having to mine, and all of the other goodies are piling up too. Piglins just generate so many items that even though I'm using hundreds and thousands of blackstone related blocks in my main base, which is these towers, I'm still going to sell these things in the glass and nether shop as I just need to get rid of them. 1 diamond for a stack. I don't know, but I would totally buy that because when I'm making these towers, I need these blocks, and convenience always sells. We're going to have a high council of goats. Picture the Jedi Council, but evil. We bred them up a while back, and now it's time to get them into the top of the tower, which is going to require minecarts and our mob moving skills. Thankfully, after all the mob sacrificing we've done with the pit and our villager capturing skills, this wasn't too hard of a challenge, and the tower spikes actually made a natural rail staircase for us to get them inside. After getting them inside, my vision for the interior throne room was truly coming together. I didn't originally think of having these red goat horns on the wall, but after I got the idea, it just stuck with me, and it matches the banners that we made so well. Billy is the true goat overlord and god himself, but now we have a whole council of goats to give our cult a lot more weight and uniformity. 1.17 is really coming out to be the goat versus axolotl religion update here on the server, and we're taking over and leading the charge with the goats with this new build. It's me again, overlooking the towers at night, and it's not to put on shaders this time. It is to complain about mob spawning and how we need those 1.18 lighting mechanics now and not in a few months because I'm tired of creepers spawning and blowing up my portal frame. It's happened many times because our hellscape is just unlit because I'm kind of lazy at lighting, but it's also because it's so undetailed. So now it's the time we give it a little bit of love and a little bit of light. I am loving those spikes and details, but it is going to take a lot longer to fully build up this area. It's just a really big area. It's going to be so awesome to develop, but now is the moment you've all been waiting for. We've got a throne. We've got a new skin, the Nether King skin. With the tower interior mainly complete, the exterior looking better than ever, and the goat overlords giving us all of their praise that they can offer, we can confidently put on our crown and take a seat on the most expensive throne here on the server as of the moment. It's only 3 netherite blocks, because that's all I had the patience to mine for. I actually don't know if we will ever get that full netherite beacon. It just doesn't seem worth it. Our goat council, though, will advise us on our decisions on the base, as I do want to add a storage dungeon now, as we have a lot of items. And one of the other towers does need to be converted into a library, because we have an evoker that we captured, who's just sitting around waiting for some books. I named all the goats on stream a while back. They've all got funny pun names, or nether-related things. As in our lore, the goats are evil and have a strong connection to the nether and the corruption that they're bringing into the overworld with me. We've got a lot of work ahead of us on this project. If it wasn't mega before, it's only going to increase in scale as we've got even more terraforming to do, even more interiors to do, and a whole underground dungeon that we have now planned. And as we grow in power and take over the server, it means war, so this is a threat to the axolotl religion.